because I have started the dev space after a very long time. It is taking a lot of time for me to start. So let's wait for some minute. Okay, okay. Yeah. So let me share my screen first of all. Okay, so you are able to see the application.
Yes.
Okay. So last time you remember, right? We have created a simple application called product and supplier, and we were managed to see a lot of things in our application, right? How we can see all the data which we have put in, how we can do a CRUD operations, which we also have did it in front of you. We have also seen a lot more things like how you can use the REST client, okay, how these things, and then we have also seen here that how you can create a schema, how you can add all these scenarios and content. Today, that we are mostly have done with a lot of things, right? Like creation of ideas, supply. We will also go with a lot of other aspects. Like we have also learned what is aspect, what is type, which is a very important stuff because that will only way to go forward, right? With all the exceptional content which you are going to study here. Okay. So let's see what exactly the next step of our scenario is. Is that what is basically the association and composition? So now what does that mean by association and composition? So can anybody tell me? So if I ask you what do you mean by the term association and what do you mean by the term composition? Anybody are aware? What is actually this concept? Okay, so associations are basically a parent-to-child relationship. Okay, it's a relationship. It can be a parent-to-child relationship. It can be entity to another entity relationship. Okay? And this composition is basically a parent-to-child relationship. It's mandatory parent-to-child relationship. So what the association will do here that you can have a relationship, one-to-one relationship, one-to-many relationship you can create. Similarly for composition, you can also create one-to-one relationship or one-to-many relationship that you can do in both the cases. But what is the most important difference between association and composition is the dependency. For example, if I have two entity for product, okay, and if I have supplier, okay, so both as product and supplier, if you understand here, are both separate entities, correct? Now, if I did remove the products, that doesn't mean that the supplier will also be removed because both are independent entities, but you can create a relationship between those. For example, one supplier can supply this particular product. Okay, so for example, you have Maggie, you have spices, okay, and then it is supplier A and supplier B. So supplier A are exporting Maggie and supplier B are exporting this one. But if I say that if I remove the product or if I remove the supplier, does that mean that the product will remove? No, right? You can find any other supplier as well. Let's suppose if I remove supplier A, does that mean the Maggie will be removed from the market? No, right? Maggie can find another supplier. So that is the meaning of association, that you can create a relationship between the entity, okay? But these entities are not dependent on each other, rather these are independent. That means that if one entity are destroyed, the other entities will remain intact. Now let's see the composition relationship. If you have a relationship, for let's suppose sales order, purchase order, okay, and purchase order item. So what is the relationship between purchase order and purchase order item is a composition relationship. How? Let's imagine that if suppose purchase order has multiple purchase order items. But if I remove purchase order, if I delete purchase order, do you think that purchase order item will exist or should exist? Anyone?
There is no mean of purchase item will remain because the relationship between purchase order and purchase order item is the purchase order.
Yes. So you
Uh,
can say here, right? The purchase order is the father here, is the parent here, and the purchase order item are all their child entity. And if the purchase order is not there, if the purchase order header item is not there, can you say that purchase order item should exist? It should never exist, right? It will get removed. Correct? And that is the relationship which is known as composition. Let's go with another example. I have my product entity. Okay, basically I'm a product entity. Let's suppose I have a product A. I have my product A, I have my product B. And let's suppose I'm basically a call center employee, and let's suppose I have a conversation which is happening on product A. So lot of conversation happened on product A, which I logged it. Similarly, I have lot of conversation happened for product B. Now let's suppose I remove the product A from my company. Does that any make sense to keep all that conversation? No, right? Because if I remove product A, then product all the conversation which happened by call center employee for product A should not exist as well, right? Correct? And that type of relationship is basically known as composition relationship. Any question? So how we basically create a relationship? Very simple. Okay, we used to do. But if I say here, there are two ways you can do. I told you that there is one way which is normally like this. There is other way where you can do like this is basically known as graphical model. Let's see how with the help of graphical model we are able to create a relationship very easily. Okay. So we here come where with open with, we will say CDS graphical modeler. So basically it will create you two separate in the graphical UI model structure. You can see here, right? You have lot of aspect which you have created, which is okay, fine, that's fine. And you also have a relationship between cost and price, which is okay. But let's create a relationship between supplier and product. So product and supplier has which relationship? Association or composition?
Association.
Correct, association. So how we create a basically relationship is very simple. So we just come here. So we come here supplier. We will say supplier add relationship. Okay, and then we just go and add here like this. And now if I add here, we will just select association. Okay, and now it's based on our scenario, what relationship which you want to create between these two. Okay, so you can create one-to-one relationship, you can create one-to-many relationship. It's totally based on your scenario. Let's suppose I will keep too many relationships. If I create, what is going to happen that you are basically creating a relationship here. And if you see here the structure, then let's see. Can you see here the code got updated? Is it simple or not? Now
Using
we have
graphical
added.
view,
Sorry.
I mean, using graphical view, it is simple getting
Yes,
the
it's
relationship.
yes, it's very simple. So you saw it, right? How we have created a very quick relationship between these two entities. Correct? Now that doesn't mean that you cannot add it manually. Of course, you can go and you can add your entity manually. But if the tab provides those graphical way where you can create it, then you should use that step and make it more, because if you write a code by yourself, there's a chances that you might end up error. But if you use graphical tools, the accuracy will remain very high. Okay. Now let's go and try to do some stuff here. Okay. So what we are going to do here, that we are going to add our data. Okay, so what data basically you are expecting? So let's suppose if I will say here that I wanted a data. Let's suppose I come here, I will delete the product, delete here, and what I'm going to do here, I will generate a new, you can say data here. So what I'm going to do, I will put CDS add. Let me just put help. If you put help, right, lot of things is there. Okay, CDS add sample. Let's suppose I will say CDS add sample. What will happen? I will say CDS add sample. No, so it will come here. It will come here, and you can see here. Basically, they are not adding. So what you can do, I'm giving you direct command CDS add data. If you do here like this, yes, 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 the problem is this, so no problem. So I will just go and I will comment and I will say CDS add data. Okay. And now if I do create a new data, you can see here that you have a new product entity with lot of details. Okay. You always don't need to fill up all the details which you need, but let's go and see what exactly it's offering here. So I will cost underscore price. So cost underscore price, and let me first of all, yes, so I will delete this one because that's not we will do right now. So we will delete the UI element. Okay, I will delete the service element. So we will delete the service element and we will just do CDS watch. And what we do need to do, instead we'll change some entity, okay? We'll change price, a separate one, okay? So we will not create much complex here. That is just for learning previous class. So price and stock, we will write as integer. Okay, let's remove it once again. Hmm, Perfect. So now you have got the data. And let's remove few data which is not needed. So I will come here, I will come here, I will come here. Yes, and then you are good here. We can add some data here. For example, let's add some ID. So first of all, we have to generate the ID, right? So add row. Let's copy some UID generator, emission rating, name, audit, category, A, price, 100, USD. Uh, and now we will call one more, and then we'll generate one more UID. Oh, 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 oh. Now, if you see here, right, when you have given this one, right, there is a another column called supplier ID. What is the supplier ID? Supplier ID is basically relationship which you have wanted to create from product to supplier. So it is saying that for this product, who should be the supplier? Okay, so now you have to, so that is why it comes supplier underscore ID. So now how this supplier is smaller underscore ID came. So if you come to the schema, you will see here that you have supplier, okay, in the product, okay, and that is matching with your ID of your supplier. So basically you have to, if you want to call from supplier ID, you have to call this supplier underscore ID. Similarly, if you see the graphical model, you will see that supplier is directly binding with your ID. So if you come here, let's copy the supplier is 123. So I will come here. So if you just come one, let's suppose one, let's suppose two, let's suppose three. I just apply changes to file and save. Okay, and now I do CDS watch. No. So now if you have seen here that you will get a product, okay. Now if you see the product here, you can see that your supplier ID is now reflected. Now there is a concept called expand. How you can expand your entity. This is a very interesting way to check that how you can expand your data. Okay. So let's suppose first of all I will show you into the directly on the REST client, which is more interesting here. So what I can do here is I will come here, I will do a get call here. Okay. So now you can see here you are getting a supplier ID. No. Where 433019, right? 433019. 433019. Okay, so now you can see here you are getting a supplier ID. And now what we are going to show you that how you can expand, because now you have set a relationship, right? So relationship means that you are good to go and you can create and you can expand your entity. And what that means that you can expand your entity, that you can help your entity navigate to another entity because you have associated it. Okay, so let's go and see some of the way where you can go and check your entity. Okay, so let's see. I will just give me a moment. Let me just mm, Just give me a minute. Okay. So now let's go and see how we can expand it. It's very simple. You just have to go here and you have to do question dollar. Okay, expand is equal to expand equal to. Now from the product, if you want to expand supplier, then you have to call this schema. If you come here, you have to call this field is field supplier. And if you come here to the test.html, you can just have to click like this, and then you can see here in the select request, you can see here that the supplier is expanded. Can you see here? This is your supplier details. Now it got expanded directly from the product. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no. So what did you understand
Yes,
from
sir.
them? That you can now do easy navigation from one entity to another. Okay. Now let's go and see one more thing. Now I will say, let's suppose that if you see here, right, product. Now I will say that BMW is also supplied by supplier number one. Okay. If I say like this, and if I try to again expand it, okay. So now if you can see here, if I expand it again, if I do, can you see here that supplier number one is expanding both this one. Can you see here? See. Similarly, you can also do a navigation from here to there as well. So let's suppose if I will say here, this is ideally previously it was not possible, but let's see it was there or not. So let's suppose this is your supplier, and if you want to question dollar expand is equal to product. If you do, what will happen? What will happen? So if you do have this one, then can you see here? This product got expanded. Sorry, 330945. So let me just do one more time. Yes. Can you see this one? Your supplier number one, okay, is exporting how many products? Two products. Okay, and then your supplier number two are exporting no product. Okay, and then your supplier number three are exporting one product. If you want to validate, you can validate it. So here, your supplier number one is exporting two products, Audi and BMW. So can you see here? Clear or not? Or do you have any question which you want to ask?
Clear, sir.
Anything which you want to ask? Something from this? Okay, no problem. Okay, so now you have done the expansion. You can also do lot more things on your plate. So, for example, if I will come here and I can show you that you can also do expand and equal to supply, right? So let's suppose you have got, and now you can see here that you have expanded the product, okay? And you can also do, so you can write and select. You can also do select, okay? So that also you can do, like you can select your filter also, query also you can do here from your application also, okay? So it's very easy. It's a very, you can say, expand a straightforward thing, which you can help you to learn how you can expand your whole, you can say, core data query. Okay. And these are a very generic learning concept, which you can help you to make sure that you are, you can say, navigate from one entity to another very seamlessly. Okay. Now, any question, first of all? Because expand is a very common term. Okay, it's not that it's not that this is just you can say new concept. It's a very old concept. Okay, because if you go to S4 HANA system, AC system, still we do the same thing, right? Like we use the same concept of expanding. So here also we can do the same concept. So there is nothing that we are doing anything new. It's just that we are trying to show you that how you can achieve those things. Questions if you feel.
No, Sayed, it's clear.
Okay, good, good. So now your next task, which I don't want you to do it right now, but you can also look at how you can also select it. So you basically you can select it like and if you do like this, right? Then maybe I don't want it to show you right now because I wanted you to do it, but you can also select it. Like select is equal to, let's suppose you want to select only rating and category, something you can do it. Okay, you can also filter it and then you can also test it out. Okay. Uh, Maybe you can just try it out. Okay, select is equal to and oh sorry, it's not supply, right? So maybe what I can do, let me just comment this one. Let me uncomment this thing. So let me just show this to you also. So let's suppose we have supplied it, right? Let's suppose I wanted that I will just select few field. I will not. So what I can do here, I will just put and and question and dollar select is equal to select your. Let's suppose I just want few field like name uh, and dollar name. I want a name category. I want a rating. That's it. Let's suppose only two things. So if I do like this, so can you see here? So these are just all data query which you can also write it in your application and make sure that you are you can say filter on a all data layer part as well. Okay, this is a very important stuff and this also very important stuff first of all. Okay. And this also makes sure that you are way ahead when you do any kind of navigation on your application. Okay, so last time we have seen schema and all, we have also seen the act function, right? Let's go and first of all see what exactly we can do more here. Okay. Now, have you like I know that I haven't teach you about the act function and action, right? So we have only teach about the function. Perfect. So let me just have a look. Now you have seen here, right, that you are getting, you can say, if you come to the service, because right now we have created a supplier association. Now let's see how we can create a composition. Okay, this is a very interesting topic, right? That how you basically create a composition means that you are creating a relationship between parent to child, where if parent doesn't exist, the child also will not exist. Okay, this is a very interesting and very important concept here. So in this concept, right, let's suppose if I want to create a conversation, I can go here with the same tools. Okay, so I can come here to the graphical modeler. Let's suppose I wanted to create a, you can say, conversation. So instead of writing like this, right, what I can do here, right, I'm going to write directly in my code. I can directly create a separate entity of a conversation, and then I can also create it. But right now, I can directly, without creating a separate entity, I can create a composition inside the same product. So let's see how I can do it. I will come here. I will say, let's suppose I'm a call center. I have a call center company, and there I'm going to write lot of conversation on that product. Okay, that a lot of complaint come for that product, right, from the sub customer. So we log all those complaint on that of that particular product in the conversation field. Okay. So how we are going to create a composition? So we'll just write similar to like supply. We write some small, let's suppose we give the name as conversation, and so one product can have multiple conversation, right? So and that is why we will write composition of 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 many. Okay, because we have lot of conversation happening. So now instead of creating another entity called supplier, we will create an entity here only in the same. So we are not basically going to create a separate entity, but we are going to create a separate structure directly here itself. Okay. And so we will give the key field where suppose every conversation will have a separate ID. Okay. Okay. When it happened, the time duration. So we will log this time duration into the timestamp. Let's suppose I will give this as a string. Okay. And who is the person responsible? Okay. So who is the you can say processor. Okay. So who is the processor? So I will give the processor name as string. And what is the message he has created? So I will give the value string. If you see here, right, I've directly created a composition. Okay, without anything. Okay, and what I did, I haven't created a separate entity for conversation. Instead of that, I have written everything inside the same product. Now, how I can add a data? That is a very interesting question, right? Because right now, if you see here, so how I can have to log a data. So you see here, I have created a conversation field, right? So now what I can do here, that instead of data, what I can do here, that I can create a separate file. So let's suppose, or maybe if you see here, if you just type your CDS data, so you can see here that automatically one file will get created, conversation. Can you see here this one? So you have seen here, right? I haven't created any entity in my schema. I have just created a composition inside the same thing. But CAP will understand that this conversation is definitely a separate entity, right? So what it will do, it will create a separate CDS file. How smart it is now. So now I'm going to write some message here. So it's basically a conversation ID. Okay, so first of all, we have to, this question is ID. What is the UP underscore ID? UP underscore ID means, if you see here in the schema, which product you are logging a complaint. Okay, so if you see here, I'm going to log, let's suppose I'm going to log a complaint for Audi. So my Audi, I will copy the Audi ID, and this is my, so let me just do like this. So basically, add row. So basically, this is my UP underscore ID. So I will create, suppose I will create a 3, 4 conversation. So this I have two complaint. I have two complaint for Audi. So I will create a two similar ID for UP underscore ID for Audi. Okay, so basically it's the ID for audit material, audit product. Now each conversation have their own ID, correct? So I will go and generate a new refresh. I will copy that one. I will copy that one. I will paste here. Okay, sorry, not this one. I have to generate a unique one. So I will copy again. Okay. Timestamp is basically means that which duration you have logged the complaint. So in this page, I will give the time duration, something I can give. That doesn't matter. I can give any time. Okay. So I will put some more. Processor is, let's suppose is for this John is a processor. For this Martha is a processor. Message that Audi broken, Audi engine not working. Okay, similarly, Audi has damaged Windows, something like that. Now, next complaint. I will let's suppose I add the next complaint for which product? Why is what time? Okay, so let's suppose now I wanted a complaint for BMW. So I will take a one complaint for BMW. Okay, so one complaint I will take for BMW. Okay. And I have to generate a new ID, right? Because the new complaint is generated. So I will take a new ID for this one. I will give any timestamp, doesn't matter. Suppose Henry has done the complaint, BMW has broken music system, something like that. Okay. Next one complaint I will give for Tata. Okay, so I will give for Tata, and I will generate a new version over here, and then some timestamp. Ronnie Tata Harrier insurance is problem. Okay, so now let's suppose I have saved it, this entity, apply and save it, and now if I run this one, CDS watch, so 42687 it come here, right? So if I come here, let's suppose so now if I can see, okay, what is the problem here? Oh, sorry, I have terminated it. 38999, right? The port number is 38999, 38999. Okay, so you can see here the conversation is not available. So how to see the conversation? You just have to put a question dollar expand is equal to conversation. Let's see how it works here. Conversation. Okay, so can you see the conversation now? If you see here, BMW has one conversation, correct? Can you see here, right? Similarly, if you see here, Tata has one conversation. And if you see here, right, Audi has two conversations. If you want to see it here, this whole thing, I can also show this one as well. Okay, so you just have to expand here and you come to the sub product, copy and expand. And yeah, so can you see this one? Yes, no, anything, any issue, any understanding concept, let me know.
Yes, it's coming.
So you are clear how the navigation is done, how each and every concept is done. Are you clear with that?
So in this, Syed, the product is the parent and conversation is the child.
Yes, yes, yes. And now just imagine that let's suppose Audi has two complaints. If you see my screen that Audi has damaged window, Audi engine not working. Now I've created a composition. Now let's suppose I delete the Audi entity. Do you think that conversation will also be deleted, right? Of course, right? Because the conversation doesn't make any sense without the parent, without the Audi car. Correct? So I will, if I remove Audi production into my company, then I don't need its conversation detail. And that is what composition is. That parent to child relationship is there. If the parent doesn't exist, child shouldn't also exist. Unlike association, where if the parent doesn't exist, that doesn't mean the child also not exist. If the product doesn't exist, supplier can also exist. Okay? Clear, right?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. So I have taught you, right, how exactly the whole services is working. Okay. So now our domain modeling is completed. So basically, we have now understood what exactly the domain model. Now, after a domain model, what is there? Can anybody tell me? I have already told you, right? There are three types of modeling in the tab. One is the domain modeling, one is the service modeling, one is the UI modeling. So after the domain modeling, what exactly we have to do? We have to do service
Service
modeling.
modeling.
Yes, we have to do service modeling because in the end, this services modeling will generate the services. So now you are already seeing the CAP application that your services are generated, but you can also modify your services. You can also add your a lot of things into the services. You can also add lot of details into the services, which is obviously possible. So for that, we are now going to focus on the service modeling concepts. Okay. It's very important concept which you have to just take in your mind. So now we have already shown you, right, how to create a services. Okay, so we have already created this whole concept. Now, if you have noticed this one, right, we are getting all these thing into which format? O data format, correct? Our whole REST API is in which format? O data one.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, Syed.
Yes, yes, I got disconnected. So sorry for that. Okay, so now you have noticed it that, right? Our whole connection, our whole scenario, right? Our is the service, right? Is basically an O data V4 services, correct? No, there is sometimes scenario that your company wants that I don't want O data integration, rather I want a REST integration. So there basically there's a difference between O data protocol and REST protocol. I hope all of you know that. Okay. So it's a different way of you can say a way of protocol with to interact with your services. So how many of you basically know what is the difference between OData and REST? Can anybody tell me? Anyone? please go and study the difference between OData and REST. Okay, so it's a basically a way of communication, but there are a lot of difference between these two, and I hope that all of you should at least get a chance to study in your free time what is the difference between OData and REST. So now you have an OData protocol, and if I want to convert from OData to REST, there is a very simple way. Okay, so CAP provides a very simple CAP by default provides a OData v4, and that is why you are seeing here. Okay. Now, if I want a REST protocol, I can directly go and write a REST protocol like this. I just have to write here. Why this and okay. So now it's a very simple way, okay, to do that stuff. You just have to write slash at the rate protocol at the rate protocol, okay, and then you have to write a very simple step, okay. So by default, CAP provides which framework? By default, CAP provides OData framework. But if you have a need to convert to the REST, you just have to write here like this REST, and your job is done. Okay, so automatically this will convert to that. And can you see the path now? Slash REST product shop. So if you see here, if I refresh this one, so now you will see here you have a REST product shop. Can you see this one? You have no metadata, you have no OData v4, it's a REST one. So you can see here you have directly a REST here. There is no OData dot context. And if I try to call this one right, test.http, everything will get failed. If I try to convert call product entity, it will get failed. Can anybody tell me why it got failed? Why this call is getting failed?
because protocol change.
Yes, and if you see here, I have previously I was giving OData before, so I have to remove this, and instead I have to give what REST protocol. And if I not do this one, can you see the data?
OData is also a REST protocol. I was like, I'm not
Please,
sure. Like OData.
yes, that is what I'm telling. Please go and study the concept very carefully. It's lot of documents are there. So if you do that one, then you will get a lot of learning. Why we need REST? Why we need OData protocol? Why? What is the difference between OData v2 and v4? Please go through that. And tomorrow when you will come, we will have a separate session on that. And I want all of you to study that concept. Okay, first of all, by yourself. Okay.
And one more thing, like in the SAP, we create the OData service. So,
Hmm.
so that OData service that belongs to, like, because here we are creating like some file we are creating, JSON file we are creating here.
Hmm. What? Can you just repeat again, please?
In SAP system, we create the OData
Hmm.
service, and that
Okay.
OData service is being consumed in the Fiori side as well, and in the maybe BTP side as well. So,
Okay.
so how that will be consumed? Like here we are just creating the JSON file and using that only.
So where we are creating a JSON file? Can you tell me where we are creating a JSON file?
Uh, Here somewhere
Mm.
here, like like data, whatever we are writing, it's converted into the JSON.
Into a JSON format, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. That is. So now JSON is the by default recommended format when you do a seamless integration with anything. So now what is your exact question?
Like how we can get the data from the OData service we create in the SAP side.
So SAP side also when you create a OData service side, you get the data into what format? XML format. Okay, when you try
Yeah.
to put into this one, right? Now,
Hmm.
when you try to consume into CAP provides a ready-made translation, okay, from XML to JSON. Why? Because cap is a structure. Now you are seeing this one, right? These are all JSON format, but you can easily convert into XML format and everything. Because if you see here, right? If you do here, right, and if you say CDS preview, you can see here you can translate to either JSON or data. Let's suppose I wanted to preview as O data. Okay, so if you do like this, you can see here you are getting an O data entity. Okay, so you can
And
either convert to JSON or data, YML. It is adaptable. It is directly you don't have to work hard for that.
and and how we can integrate with the that OData service to our CAB application. Uh, we will
Yes,
get
yes,
in
yes, yes.
next classes or
So
like
yeah,
we
this
can
is a
do.
part of, yes, yes, this is a part of that curriculum. So we will definitely do. So once we slowly ramp up, right, on the CAP, we will do maybe by today end of the day or by tomorrow. We will just see how to integrate it. Okay. But the integration is very simple, very seamless, and very much achievable. Okay, it's very because CAP handles everything from their stack. So you just that is what CAP is, an opinionated framework, right? You don't have to worry about, you only worry about have to on the business logic side. CAP
Mhm.
will take care of all that conversation and everything. You don't have to work hard there. Okay. Now, if you, by the way, any more question? Very good question, by the way. Any more question? If anyone you want to answer, ask. Good, no problem. Now, there is another concept which comes here is that about what you call is that function and action. Okay. So I have already explained you about the functions, right? That what exactly the function is, the logical thing. But what is the difference between function and action? So if I say here, I wanted two things, function and action. So basically, both function and action are a logical block, basically. So basically, it's just a building logical block. This is just a logical block. Let's suppose you want a sum of two numbers, so you can do sum of two numbers. You just add these two as an input, give one as an output, one as an output that you can do. But what's the difference between those function actions? That function has no side effect. What does that mean by side effect? That is not doing any kind of updation in your backend system. There is no updation happen. Okay, but action can have or cannot have a side effect. Okay, it can have or cannot have a side. What does that mean by cannot or cannot have a side effect? Means, let's suppose you are creating an action called purchase order. So if you're creating an action called purchase order, it means that you are creating an order. That order will get updated into your database system, and then you are going to work on that. You are clear now? Concept you are clear? Function will not have a side effect. Action will have a side effect or will not have a side effect. So in action, it can have a side effect, it cannot have a side effect. But function cannot have a side effect. Clear or confused?
So Sayed, action will have no side effect and it is like a function only.
Yes, of course. So function and action, what I told. But function action can have a side effect, right? I'm telling. Action can have a side effect. Okay. Action can have a side effect and function cannot have a side effect.
Okay.
If you have still doubt, I can definitely explain once again. That's no problem.
No, Sayed.
Okay. So now the another question is that how you basically access these actions and functions. So if you have seen there in my all my previous classes, I have accessed the act function using which concept? Using using get call. Okay, because function doesn't have a side effect, so I don't need to do any other call. But actions has to be always called by a post call. Remember this one. Okay. Now actions have a side effect. So what is the relevance in CAP application? Function cannot have will be displayed in the UI as a button, but action will definitely has to be a button into the UI most of the time. Okay. So for example, create purchase order. So it can be have a button into your purchase or into a we will see all those things. Definitely we will see.
Yes, yes. Submit is also a post.
Yes, yes, yes. Now let's see how we can create a function and action. But before that, let's see one more concept, which is known as, let's suppose if I'm saying if I want to create a function, so I can come here, function. Okay. If I say I have to create a function, okay, so sorry, I have to put inside this one function. Why my spelling mistake is always wrong? So function. Now if I say function, let's suppose I created any function called uh, my function, something called my function. Okay, it doesn't matter title. I create a function called my function. Now, if I say I'm creating a function with my function, okay, let's suppose I give some number a name as string. Okay, input is string. Okay, and I am saying that I am returning a string. Okay, so what does that mean? Can anybody tell me? Can anybody tell me what does this mean?
Function has a one parameter name as the input and it returns some string.
Looks like I have. Oh, yeah. So if I say function name string, and if I say name string return string, so what does that mean? That if I let's try to implement this function first of all. So how to implement this function? If I say here, let's suppose if I have to put any business logic, how to call? We have to give the same name, we have the same name, and we have to give JS. I've already teach you right this one, right? Initial class. Remember? Okay. Now let's try to implement some very simple function. Okay, so very simple function because that only then only we will understand the difference between functions and actions. Okay, so very simple. I've already teach you, so I will just go and write a very first of all we have to import a CDS because all the query we have to write here. So we will say constant CDS. So we will basically call at the rate. If you are getting still doubt, what is this one? Please write. But this required basically I'm calling is from at the rate SAP/CDS. So basically I'm importing the CDS library which I have imported into my package.json. Now once I have did it out, I will write a simple code module dot export is equal to CDS dot service dot implementation implementations, and I will write here async async function service, okay, and I will write like this, okay. So now this way you have write it out, and now let's suppose if you have to call your my function, then how you will call srv dot on, okay. So on handler you have called, and you will say name of your function. So what is my name of my function? So I will just call my name of my function, which is my function, and which is my function, okay. And I will say name of my function and async whatever I'm going to pass as a request, okay. And I will say that whatever I'm going to pass as a request, I'm going to return that value. Return. So basically, let's suppose I have let so basically I am saying that let I will say the result is equal to what, whatever I'm going to pass into my, so I pass his name, right? So I will say request dot data dot name, and I will say right here super 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 cool and I will add it dollar the name. So what I'm going to do, whatever I'm going, because here I have did in function what, I'm just passing any name of my car or any name whatever I want to do, and I will return that as a string or put anything else. So this will be my output. So whatever I'm going to pass the input, I'm going to add super cool before that. I'm going to pass that as the output. So I will say return result now. Okay, so because I have already defined a string, right? So I cannot modify it out. So similarly, I can come here. I will come and how to test it. So I will just come here. Let's come to the CBS bot. What I'm missing? Product CBS. Product service dot JS. It's not written, it's written. Okay. So I will pass it another 33229. So 3333229. Let me show you that function into the metadata. So if you come here, if you see the metadata, you will definitely see my function. So if I search my function, so you can see here, right? My function. Okay, with the name is an input string and output is a return type. So how I will call? I will just call my product entity from product shop. I will call product shop. Then I will call my function and I will pass name, and right. So name is equal to, let's suppose I pass BMW, anything BMW. Okay. Then I will do get call. Sorry, odata slash v4 and I do get call, and can you see here the value super cool BMW? Yes, no, anything. So you got it right, how it comes. Similarly, if I write a Audi and if I do get call, my function will return super cool Audi now. You understood it right, how it is coming?
Yes, sir.
Now the question comes here. You understood how I created a function, how I have implemented the function, okay? And let's suppose instead of result, I will give some integer. Let's see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I will do again this HTTP call. Okay, I'm getting the value. Now tell me this value is string or integer or what? This value will now be string because the problem is that I have already told that it is string. Okay, even though I'm passing as an integer and as an integer, as if you see here in the product.js, I'm passing the result as a string as a number, but still as my result parameter is a string, it will pass me a string. Okay, now let's come to the actions. How actions are getting called. In the same way, let's suppose I will create one more my function. In the similar way, if I create my action, how I will call the response. So if you come to the product.cds, let me just close on. If I come here, if I will say actions, okay. So basically, this is the best. This is the two-way, multiple way to write it. Okay, so one such way is to write like this, that you have to write in the action, the name of the action. Okay, so let's suppose I will give the action name as something my action, my action. Okay, and I will say same way name string, and I will say return, return, return string. Okay, like this. And now if I'm saying my action, name string and add string, so what I'm going to do? Similarly, where you can implement like the same code. So I will just copy the same code. So first of all, let me first revert back that whole code. So this will look good rather than this. So I will just come here. I will come here and I will say my action, my action. Okay, and now I have returned the result. And now if you see here in 329, if I refresh it, now metadata, and if I say action, so can you see that my action now is now there? And if I refresh once again, this one, yes. So now can you see here this action? Oh no, not this one. My action, right? So my action. Yes, this one. Can you see here this one? So now this is the action. Basically, this is a function. So you can see function, action, name function. What is the parameter name and what is the return type? So now if I have to test it, what I have to do? Same thing, same call. Like if I have to do same call. So I just have to test change here. Here. Is it correct, right? Anybody any have doubt? So if I now call it, I will get failed. Why?
Because action to be saved in some DB data.
No. I told you it can have side effect, it cannot have side effect. So right now it doesn't have any side effect, but still, I have told you, right? Action can only be called first of all by the post call. Correct? So not by the get call, first of all. Okay, so first of all is that you have to do by the post call. Second of all is that you cannot write past as like this, because if you write a post call, then you have to pass the data. So how to pass the data? How to pass the input? So first of all, you have to write in a JSON format. So which format you want to pass? You have to write it. Let's suppose I wanted to pass in a application/JSON format. And then you have to create a JSON like this, and then you have to pass your parameter. So my parameter was name, right? So I will pass like this name, and then I will pass like this OD. And now if I do a post call, then what is the local host is not an entity set. What happened right now? Mm. Sorry. These all things can be deleted, right? I have repeated it. Okay, so now, yes. So now if I come here, if I do get call, oh, again, what happened? Oh, so I have to remove this one again because I'm passing it into the payload, right? Now this is the good. Now if I do send call, can you see the output now? And this is the way we call a function. Now this is the way we call action. We use get call to fetch the data. We use post call because we may modify the data, right? That is why we always call by the post call. Clear? Yes, no, anything?
Clear, yes.
Now, if you have noticed it right, this part, if you have noticed it very carefully, the action, because action, if you see here, is bound is equal to false. What does that mean by is bound is equal to false? Is that your data, your action are not bound with your entity. Okay, it's not, it's independent. Now, if you have to bound your action with some entity, you can also do that. That is known as a bounded action. So let's suppose I wanted to bound my action with some entity called product. Okay. So I just have to write very simple thing that how many actions you want to bind. So let's suppose I have created multiple action like action. If I have to bound act multiple action, like if let's suppose in product, what you want to do. I wanted to order product first of all. So I will say order product. Okay. Then I will give the what is the data you want to pass. Let's suppose I want to pass name, a name, string, string. I will give the name also as the title something. Okay, like you can give here. Okay, that's I can write later on. That's not a very important stuff. So name, and let's suppose if you want to order something, then you of course you need how many hot stock you want to order. So that also you can like this. Okay. Similarly way, you can add multiple actions on the same. Let's suppose now I will create one more action. I will say create PO, create purchase order of any product. So I will provide string. Okay, string, and then this for fifth order I will create a purchase order. Okay. So you can see here right now if I will if I will go here and if I will search for another action, let's suppose create PO, create PO. So can you see here is bound is equal to true on which parameter? The type is product shop dot product, it is bounded. Similarly, order product. Order product is also bounded action. It is bounded on a product. Similarly, if you see here, you are not getting this thing type because we are not bounded. So that is why here you are not seeing anything because it's an independent action. Clear? Any question? Any doubt?
So, sir, what is the difference between bound action and unbound action?
So bound action is basically you are bounding your action with some entity, okay, with some entity. You are attaching those actions with some entity. So in this case, right, if you see here, I am attaching these two action on the product. Basically, my action will do all that side effect on that particular entity, and it can also try to get all that data from that particular entity, and it can do all those operation on that particular entity. Okay. So basically, it's not an independent. So if you choose any independent entity, it's very difficult when you try to replicate to the UI side. Okay. So if you replicate a bounded actions, then you will make sure that your data are bounded with that particular entity, and you can do all those operations on that particular definition. Okay. So
Yeah,
it can
yeah, yeah.
your bound action can be attached to individual entity or service. Okay. You know how you can bound it. Similarly, you can also bound your function also. Okay. That's definitely not a problem. So with just a way to how to bind, you can definitely bound it out. Clear with this concept?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Another very important, interesting thing is that now let's do some. I will tell you one more simple advantage of bound action and like what is the disadvantage of unbound action. Now let's suppose I need the order product. Okay, let's suppose I have created this as a order product, and I'm just passing a name, and I'm calling this action into here. Let's suppose order product I will call here. Let's suppose order product I'm calling. Let's suppose order product I'm calling. And what is I have to create one order, right? So I pass name and I pass stock. Okay, let's suppose two things. So if I do here, my product order should be done. But if you see here my schema of my product, what is my primary key here? Primary key is UUID, right? If I'm correct. ID, right? Primary key of my product is what? ID, right? It's not the name. So if I just pass the name, I have to do a select query and then I have to pass the ID, right? Correct? I'm correct or not? Because only ID is the primary key. So it can also be possible, right? With the two same names, you can have different product also, right?
Yes, yes.
So in this case, if I just call this payload and if I want to order product, how can I know which product I want to add? So it can also happen, right? Let's suppose the product, this is also OD, this is also OD. For example, I will make this one also as OD. Now, if I'm ordering two product, how can I know which product I'm ordering? Are you got it or not? Now, what this bound action will do, when you will call it from the UI, right? This bound action on this particular entity, you will automatically get the ID on which particular entity you are getting for. Because you are already bounded it, right? This is product. Okay, so when in the UI, right, when you try to click on that button will automatically identify which product field you are calling and you will automatically get the ID, which is not possible when you are doing unbounded actions. That is one of the biggest advantage when you do bounded action. Clear?
Yes.
Now we are done with the bounded action, unbounded. So please go through that. If you have a Kapar, I have already shared you, right? Kapar actions, Kapar document. Yes, right? Or no?
Which documents are?
Kapar. So we already have a Kapar document by the CAP. So you can find it here. Okay, it's a Bible of the CAP. Remember that it's have all the Kapar, all the thing in the CAP. Okay, please go and study it. So whatever I am also teaching to you is basically from the same cookbook. Okay, and there's nothing that I'm teaching you out of the box. So let's suppose adding initial data. Okay, so you can see right how you have how I'm adding it CDS watch, I'm doing CDS add data expanding and all this thing, right? I'm doing right. So whatever I'm doing it, I am teaching it from there only. Okay, so please go through that cookbook CDC. How it's a very big best example to understand all those concepts. Okay, providing services and all those things. Let's suppose actions will be there. Let's suppose I'm going to teach you now on after before handler. So please go through that. Lot of things are there, input validations, lot of things are there. So it's very vast, okay? You don't need to study too much, but it's a very good thing to start from the scratch. So I will share you that documentation to you, okay? So please go through that, getting started. From here, I will give to you. Please let me know if you are now able to access it. Okay. So now we are going to see the step which is known as a very important, is a service handler. So if I come here, right, you are able to see my whiteboard, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So how is the diagram is working? So if you come to the Kappa, right, they have also given a very good diagram. I will show you here. Somewhere, if you see here, consuming services. Yes. No, no, not this one. Providing services. Let me just see. Yeah. So if you see here, right, the diagram here, what is the domain model and database, which is created. Then the service model, which is created basically as services. And now if you see here, right, to write a logic, we have created a JS file, but everything is happening by the events. Okay, so hooks, you can see here, right? So these events basically do all the communication from service to event handler. So what does that mean? That let's suppose you have a service now, and clicking on the product. Then what exactly is happening? The on event is triggering. So you can see here, right? When I click on event is triggering. Okay, so there's basically an event to get triggered, and that event is basically known as hook. Okay, so a lot of events will get triggered, and based on that, we basically call the API. Okay, so we will not go more further on that. So what we are going to show you right now that just a moment. Perfect, Ronnie. These are all. Okay, so now what we're going to show you that there are three type of handler. One is a on handler, one is a before handler, one is an after handler. So it means that let's suppose we have a product entity, okay, and you have clicked that product entity. So when you while the data was got received, right, when the data was got received, at that point of time, on handler will get triggered. But before on handler, there is one handler called before handler will get triggered. And now once the on handler is completed, post that after handler will get triggered. So now you got the serial. What is the first handler which get triggered between these two? Can anybody tell me when I click on any entity?
Beforehand.
Before handler will be the first one. What is the second one? Order.
On handler.
And third,
After.
after handler. Now let's see how we can distribute. Let's suppose if I will call product entity, right? Let's suppose I have the product entity. So I will say srv dot on. Let's suppose, and I'm saying product right? If I'm correct, which product? Yes, product entity, product, product entity, and I will say async request. Okay, and I will say console dot log, and I will say I am in on I am in on handler. Okay, something like that. I can write it out. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to write one more, and now here I'm going to write after, and here I'm going to write before. Okay, perfect. Which I got before, and here I'm going to say I am on in after handler, and here I will say I am on in before handler. Perfect, very good. Now what I told first, what is going to get triggered?
Before.
Before, right? So if I select this product entity, okay, and now let's go and check it out. So if I come here, data console.log, but I got it. What's the problem? So first of all, you have to switch the detail. So I will come here, I will say constant product is equal to srb dot entities srb dot name. Okay, or maybe I can do like this. It's not an action, right? So I will write like this. Read. Okay. So now, while reading that query, right? So it's not an action. So I have to read. I'm reading the product entity. At that point of time, the data should be figured. Let's try this one. So now, when I'm going to read the product, then what is going to happen? So if I come here, if I will refresh it, and if I click on that product, yes, can you see here? First, what got triggered? Can you tell me? Can you get it? So you can see here, right? The first one is before handler, which got triggered. Okay. Then on handler got triggered. Okay. And then after handler, which got triggered when I reading the product. Now, if you have noticed it that right, I'm not getting any data now. Why? Because now it is not listening to my mock data. It is listening to my custom logic. And as I have not written any query, that is why I'm not getting any response. Okay. The time I comment this one, the time I comment this all this thing one, I'm going to see the response. So if I comment this one, if I commented this one, if I comment this one now, can you see the response on handler? Okay, so now it is listening from the mock data now. Okay, mock data. And now if you want to listen it to your custom logic, you can directly go and comment it out. You are not understood what is custom logic happen, all these things. Now we have to write some query. We will definitely write some query and we will understood all this concept. We will definitely go and learn this thing. But do you have any question for me right now? If you don't have any questions, and I can see here, let's see the schema. Most of them we have already did. We can also have carbon emission is there. Carbon emission is there. Rating is there. Okay, very good. We have lot of query we have there. So what we can do here, we will just add one more field, which is known as criticality. Okay, so I will tell you what is the meaning of criticality, and I will say integer. Integer, integer. I will say critical integer, and I'm going to uh, spelling is wrong. Criticality, criticality. Okay, and given integer, I'm going to just add few criticality on my product. So what basically is criticality is there, right? This is just trying to tell you that how critical is the product is. Okay, whether the product is danger or good or very clean or it's not bad, it's bad, everything it can define it out. Okay, so let's suppose I'm saying my product is critical based on how much emission it is keeping. Okay. For example, if my if what is for so lot of things I haven't filled up, I guess, right? So if I do the edit CSV, okay, rating is 4, rating is 2, rating is 5. So based on the criticality, I can say here, okay, it already picked it up. Okay, so I will say, for example, first of all, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. And now criticality, I will keep that if the rating is 4, then my criticality is danger. Okay, or the rating is 2, rating is 4 means criticality is 2, is little bit danger. Okay, if the critic rating is 2, it means it is very danger, so I will keep it 1. And if the rating is 5, then the danger is okay, so I will keep as criticality 3. Okay, we will see what exactly this criticality will do. Okay, so I will do apply and file changes. So you can see here you are getting a data also. If I refresh, so you are getting a criticality as well. Now let's go and create a UI now. Okay, so first of all, we create a basic UI before we go with some good break. So let's go and how to create a UI. You just have to come here, view, command palette. You will say CF login. No, not CF login. We will go here and we'll say pen application generator. Okay, so we will basically create a list report page. Okay, we'll click on next. So what will be our data source? So our data source will be basically a CAP application. So you'll service on our data service will automatically comes as I told you before itself. Then we will keep our main quantity as a product. Okay, and table type will be a responsive. Okay, and we'll come to the project attributes. So here we will just fill the products. Okay, and application title we will keep as product shops. Okay, product shops, and application name actually give ns. Then configure advanced option we can check. Maybe we can give our theming as dark. It's based upon my wish. So I just put the next, and then you can see here your application is start generating. You can see here product got generated. Okay, so basically it your UI model is getting generated. And now you can see your UI model is fully generated. Okay, so now we can go here, we will refresh here. So we can come and refresh here. You can see your web API is created, and now if I come here, you can see here you are getting data, okay, which is good, and you are getting some basic data, which is of course very good. Okay, which is good, of course, not a problem. Okay, so now what we are going to show you that how you actually go and do lot of modification on the UI, because this is just a basic UI, right, which you are getting. You don't have any actions, you don't have anything, and now it's time for us to derive a lot of actions on our system. Okay, basically we will see that how we can create actions, how we can you can say do a lot of step into our action. So a lot of things we will going to see into our application. Do you have any question for me right now, at least? How we have generated anything? Because these are all very simple things which we have did it, but how to create and all these details. But still, do you have any questions for me? You really understood all the things, which is very good, by the way.
In while we are creating a Fiori app, uh, we are directly able to see an OData JavaScript file, right? JSON file, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So like that, we will be able to see when the OData service is created from the SAP side. Is that so?
No, no. Can you just please ask again?
Uh, in the SAP, we create the OData service by creating the project in the SEGW transaction in
Okay,
the SAP,
okay,
and
okay.
OData service is created over there with some
Mm,
local port
mm,
number, then
mm, mm,
slash, then
mm.
some path. So that same file will be available there when the basis or someone do the configuration or anything, or like we need to do something else.
No, 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 no. Unlike your S4 on-premise system where you write a code in or SAP ECC system where you go and write a code in SCGW Service Gateway Builder, you write some ABAP code, you do DPC, MPC class, then you register into the Gateway Builder. And then once you register into your Gateway Builder, then you can expose it to as an OData. So this is a lot of step which you have to do in on-premise system. Cloud system, nothing. You have to do all those configuration. You created it and you can see that, right? Ready-made, I'm exposing the all my data query.
Okay,
Can you see this
you
one?
mean to say like if it is HANA on cloud, then we need not to do anything. If it is
No, no.
HANA on premise,
Yeah, please go on. Please go on. Please ask.
yeah, if it is a HANA on premise, then we need to
Yes, yes,
do
yes. You do
two
all
steps.
those steps. And why you have to do all those steps? That's the question, right?
Mhm,
Because why you are ultimately creating your own data service to integrate with other system, correct?
mhm,
Correct. Now, when you are trying to create integrate with other system, you have to publicly expose your data. Correct. Now,
mhm,
when you have to publicly expose your data, you have to do some configuration right on-premise system because on-premise is a secure network,
mhm,
and you have to expose your data outside your secure network. Then, of course, you have to do a lot of configuration, right? See, writing a code is a different thing. Writing a code, we also have written a code in a cap that you can leave it. That is a separate way we are going to write. Why we are going to register into our gateway builder? That is a step. That is a configuration to expose our gateway so that we can register into our gateway so that our gateway service expose our own data service to the external system. Correct? You can access by the local host and port. However, as your CAR application is already on the cloud platform, you don't need to do that stuff. So once you deploy the code, you can access it anywhere. Even I will show you that once I will deploy this code into the BTP, you can access my application very seamlessly. I don't have to do
no,
any further step.
I'm asking about the wrap. In the wrap, we need to take some data from SAP, right?
Yes, yes, yes. In the wrap also, right? You don't need to do any further step. So in the wrap also, once you have taken the data, you have to go. So the wrap is also have a two type. One is the embedded steampunk, where you are going to write a full-fledged stack query from the SAP system. There is another RESTful ABAP way where you can consume an API directly from an SAP system. So in both the cases, once you have exposed the O data right from the wrap system, you are freely access to anywhere. You don't need any further configuration. Of course, if you want to create inbound HTTP service on the app or something, you can do all those configuration from that. You can say S4HANA cloud system, you can create a communication arrangement, all those things, you can do it. But still, without doing that, you can access those OData service.
Yeah, so, suppose I am using the on-premise system, HANA
Hmm.
on-premise system I am using, and
Hmm.
I have created a data service. Then
Hmm.
some configuration I need to do. Who will do that configuration? Basis person or this is the ABAP responsibility?
Ideally, what is your company? That is what all depends. If your company is a very shorter size, you only have to do everything, then you have to do it everything. But if you have a company as a bigger company, complex company, they want a small team for each and every aspect, right? I have seen company that they just want some small user creation, they have dedicated team for that. It's a very simple job, but still they have a dedicated team for that. If you have assigned the role and authorization, you have to go to the basis team.
So
As an
are we
ABAPer, you
going?
can also do it, right?
So are we going to learn in here in uh, like in our classes like what are the how to do the configuration in this on premises also?
No, 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 no. So you are asking in this session in this curriculum?
Not in this session on and next classes.
No, 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 no. We are not going to deal with this O data creation on on-premise system. We are only
No,
going
no.
to
On
learn CAP
I'm
application, right? Cloud
no, no.
application.
I'm not asking about the creation of OData service. OData service I know, like, but after creating of the OData service, that need to be consumed in the BTP side through RAP. If we
No,
are
no, no,
using
no.
the
You
on-premise system,
don't.
right?
No, no. Please let me correct if your expectation is something wrong. We
Mm,
are not going to create any O data service on the ABAP layer. We are creating an O data service on the cloud application layer. CAP
mm,
program. What we are going to do in the last 5 the same, right? We are creating a microservice on the CAP cloud application. We are not doing anything on a BAP thing. And why we should do that? Why we should write a BAP code there? We already have an exposed API. We have already have a lot of API available on API Business Hub, which I will show you tomorrow. Why you go and create all those things manually? And by the way, as recommend that you shouldn't write any OData ABAP gateway with ABAP query on S4 system to export the data. A lot of S4 data or S4 standard API is already available in API Business Hub. So we are not
But
going in this whole session. We are not going to do anything of writing ABAP code into our ABAP system.
but RAP is doing that same only, right?
Sorry.
But RAP is the same thing. Like from the ABAP, it's taking like data and all that.
Yeah, so that is what I'm saying, right? I'm also going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick the data. I'm going to call the API from the S4 system.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm going to call the API from the S4 system. That is why the API is available, right? So if you come here, right? If you come to the api.sap.com, if you come to the api.sap.com, there are a lot of API available. So for S4HANA Cloud, S4HANA Cloud, S4HANA on-premise systems, if you come here, right? I wanted to show you tomorrow, but if you wanted to really see it, I can show you right now. So you can see here, let's suppose SAP S4HANA on-premise system. So if you come here, right, lot of APIs available, API, CDS views, integration, PAPI, RFC. They have already exposed this. So for example, OData V2, I can go here, right? If suppose if I want to consume any business partner data, okay, so I can directly go and take that API. This API, you just have to register into your gateway builder and you can directly, if you see the configuration, this is the API. This is already available. You just have to go and register into your S4 system. That's it. Okay, and then you can directly consume into your
But this is
CAP
the like
application.
standard application, right?
This is a standard, obviously, this is a standard OData,
Okay.
a standard OData service provided by, managed by SAP. Now, if you have to write your own custom OData service on SAP ABAP, then you just write it out, register it into the gateway builder. Okay, writing the code is your job, and then register the gateway builder is the same. What you have to do here, same way, but to go and register the gateway. And then once you have registered into the gateway, the way that we consume the OData is the same, which I will explain you tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, got it?
Good.
Yeah. Perfect. So let's take a half an hour break. So 5:30 we will meet, and then we are going to work on the Fury annotations. So how we can write basically an annotations, how we can modify our UI layer, how we can create an actions on the Fury application, and then we will also write some few more custom logics. And if the time persists, then we will see that how we can deploy the code, and we will see the deployment tomorrow on that. Okay. So let's meet at 5:30. Yeah, so you're all back.
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. So let me share my screen. So you're all able to see my screen. So here we are
Yes,
going to see how you can extend your, you can say annotate your UI application. So you can see here your UI application is still very blank, very conventional, and it's time to modify your UI so that it looks good. It's you can do a lot of annotations. Okay. So there are two ways you can modify. Either you can write it manually, all the annotations, which you can do in you can say in your application. But there are very serious way where you can also write it out. Okay, so if you come here, the app folder, product, and if you see here annotation.cds file, it got generated, and you can see a lot of annotations are there through which you are able to see all those you can say details here. Okay, all those details in the UI. But if you have to modify everything, you can either do it manually from here. Okay, else you can do another step which is known as a page map concept. So what this page map is, that page map is a very beautiful concept provided by CAP, which provides a very out of box mechanism. You can directly change your UI using a low code model. Low code means like without doing any writing annotation manually. Just select few stuff from the drop down, and then you can able to modify a lot of things, including text and everything. So for that, you have to click on this open page map. And once you open the page map, you will see that you have the list report and object page. Basically, the list report is the front page. Okay, and object page is basically the detail page. Okay. So now what we are going to do, we are first modifying the object page. So we will come here and we will just click on this one. So before that, let's go and select close on. Okay. So now we are in the list report page, and you can see here we have a lot of things like we have headers, actions, filter, all those details, right? So let's suppose, first of all, let's go to the column, and if you see here, these are the columns right now present here, okay, in the UI. So let's go and first of all remove all those things because we will only create the which we need, okay? For example, we will come and we will delete all those default models. And we come here, we will delete this. Similarly, we will delete this and we will delete this. So first of all, we will keep the first one is the name. So once we delete this, you can see all those things are reflecting here out of the box. So for Sorry, I got disconnected. Um, Okay, so sorry, I was got disconnected, and let me just share my screen. So you're all able to hear me, right, and see my screen?
Yes, yes.
So now what I'm going to show you that how you can annotate further. So let's suppose I have to add column. So I will just click on this column. I will click on this plus. Let's suppose I want some basic column. And let's suppose I wanted now what you can do here is supplier. What are the thing name? Maybe name we can write price, rating. We can or the stock, something we can write, or rating also we can think of. But anyway, let's suppose the rating I can write, and I will just click on this add. Okay. And maybe the price I can do it here, and then now if I will see here in the UI, you can see here you are getting a data. Can you see this one? Even now, what I'm going to do that I'm going to instead of rating, let me delete the rating. Instead of deleting, I am going to add emission, add basic column. I'm going to add carbon emission. Let's suppose. Okay. So now I have added the emission detail as well. Okay, so now you can see emission values. Let's go and change this header title. Okay, so if you come here, right? So what is basically happening? So if you want to see all those things which is changing the UI, right? You just have to click here and click this icon. You can see the associated annotation. So can you see here, right? How we have written the annotation automatically it is coming. Similarly for the price, you can just have to click this one and you will directly navigate to that annotation. So either you can change it from here or you can change it from the UI itself. Now, let's suppose I wanted to change the text of this name. So I will come here, I will delete this. Let's suppose I will say product. Okay, and I will come here, I will make it at IIT name and I will make this importance as a high. Okay, importance high means this will be reflected always on the top. And I wanted this price also I will say like price and this I will keep it like this. Similarly, I will keep the stock, and similarly for emission, I can use emission. Okay, and I will look like this. And now if I come here, if I refresh the UI, yes. Can you see this one? The UI got updated, the title. So now if you see here, what are the title changes we have did in annotation? So we have just created a new label. Can you see here? So we are doing everything from here and automatically you can see here all these things are getting reflected. A very interesting feature, okay. Now the good thing is that you are not doing anything yeah, and you are making sure that this is getting reflected into your data. Now, if let's suppose you want, let's suppose now you want this stock before price, okay. So you can do it very simple. You just have to go and drag and drop here like this. See, that's it. And you can see here your job is done. You refresh, it will render, and you can see here stock come here, price come here, and you can see. Did you get that point? Yes, no, anything?
Yes, sir.
Did you find it very easy here? A lot of things, flexibility is there. Did you find it easy somewhat?
Yes, sir.
Now, let's see what are the other things which we can do. For example, sorry for that. My power is getting disconnected. Because of that, the network is getting changed. So let me just reconnect again. Do you have any question in between which you want to ask? By the way? Anything? Prem, Nilesh,
No, sir.
Prem, do you have any question by the way for me?
No.
Okay, good. So let me share my screen. So now what we are going to do, we are going to see the emission, right? You remember I have added one field here into the schema. Okay, you remember, right, that I have added one field in the schema which is known as criticality. Okay. Now I told you, right, based on the emissions value, I will define whether my product is danger or correct and how I can put an indicator on that. So for that is a very interesting thing which you can see in the project editor, that in the emission, I can attach those criticality. So how I can attach those criticality? If you come down, you can see here there is an option called criticality. What is the criticality to see here? So choose a property representing the criticality status for the
Sir,
column.
you have not shared the screen.
Oh, is it? Yes, that's weird. I have already shared it by the way. Why it is not reflecting? Can you see my uh, application now?
No,
Yes?
no, no,
Still not?
No. No, we
no, sir.
cannot.
Okay, let me just can you see here? Can you see now?
No.
Okay, let me try to reconnect again. Okay, so let me just try to reshare. Let me know. Yes, can you see here?
No, 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 sir.
Okay, that's weird. You cannot able to see any screen? Nothing. Let me just see some windows. Let me just see. Can you see some this document? This whiteboard?
No, no, no.
Okay, that's weird. Let me try to reconnect again. Okay, I don't know whether let me just refresh. Let me just share my screen. Let me know if you're able to see it now.
Yes, sir. Now we are.
Can you able to see?
Yes, yes,
Perfect.
Yes, we
So
can.
now, so now if you see here emission, right, and the emission, if you come here, right, you will see one column which is known as criticality. So basically, you are going to add the colors and icon based on the critical calculation logic. Okay. So as I've already given the value 1, 2, 3 for the criticality, right? If you see here my data, if you see here, I have already given the criticality value here. Okay. So if you see here, edit CSV, I've already given the criticality value as 213. And based on that, you can see here, I will attach the criticality now to the which field? Criticality, which I have created into my schema. And now you just see the magic. Now, if I just refresh and if I just come here, can you see this now? The criticality.
yes, yes.
So how these things are happening? So we have just given this value. Okay, what criticality? One means if you see come here, one if you come here. So this is one. So product number BW is has a criticality one. So product you see here BMW is a high criticality danger red color. And now if you come here, Audi has a criticality number two. So if you come here to the Audi has a criticality number two, which is yellow. Yellow means warning. And Tata has a criticality number three, which is green, which is good to go. That is how we define some logo or icon onto our screen. Now, so you have did all those stuff on the page indicator. Let's go to some other understanding what exactly we can do that for. There are a lot of things you can also see here how you can hide it. Let's suppose you want to hide some field in between. You can click on that field. Let's suppose I want to hide the price stock field. So you can click on this hidden and then automatically this will be get hidden. Okay. So see here. Can you see now? This got hidden. So and if you want to enable anytime, you just click on that link, enable this link, and automatically you can see here you can get the data. So a lot of flexibility are provided. Okay. Now let's go and add some filter bar. So we need the filter bar, right? Let's go and add the filter bar. Okay. So let's suppose we add the filter bar based on the product name and maybe category. Okay. So we will come here. We will come to the filter bar. We will come to the filter bar field and place plus add filter field. Select filter field which you want to do. Let's suppose I want name as a one filter field, and also I want it to based on the category, which category they are, and I will say two is enough. So I will just add. I have created the name, and now if you see here, can you see two filter bar added? And now if you see the filter bar has added, right? So you can basically do a lot of stuff. So as category is not included, so or maybe what I can do here, I will add one category also here just to make it look good. So I will add one basic column. I will add this rating category add and then I will add here in the price category. Okay, and then I will add like this category. And now if you see here, you have the data category, which category, and you can also filter it out. So let's suppose if you want to filter with a category, you just have to click on A. and click on OK. Then and you click on Get, then you can get the filter button. See how simple it is to do all those annotations with the page map. Let's go with it. It's not the end. Now, if you want to change the logo of this, right? Let's suppose I wanted to with capital letter, right? Category and name. So you can also do the same here. So you come to the name filter field, and similarly you can change the logo. So let's suppose instead of this, I will keep as a product. Similarly, I will keep this as a category. Perfect. And now if you see here, you are getting all the records. Clear? Now, what are the other field which is there? So if you see here, let's go to another some other concept which will definitely go here. But let's try to see some more stuff in that other discussion. Is okay. So product is not spelling mistake. Spelling mistake. Product. Product, and we will do like this. We will do like this. Yes. And now if you see here, what exactly is happening? So if you see the annotation, basically you are adding this search field. So basically UI dot selection field means that you are adding a filter bar or your UI layer. Okay. Now you have lot of data, you have lot of entity here you have created. Now let's try to create an action. I told you, right? Actions will create a side effect. So basically action can have a button as well, right? So if you want an actions, right? Let's go here. Sorry for this. Okay, so you come to the actions part and you just click on plus, and here you will just have to select multiple action that which particular handler you want to create or whatever the value you want to create here. Okay, so now I'm going to come here. Filter bar is here. Where is the actions? Yes, in table column. And let me just see here. You can see here actions. Click on add actions, and then you just select the drop down. You can see here all the actions, you will get it out of the box, whether it is bounded or unbound. So these are my unbound. So I will just create, I will select any one. So for example, I just want create purchase order or order product. Let's Okay, so sorry for again. Let me share my screen. So you are able to see my screen?
No, sir.
Okay, so it's I guess the same problem. Let me again start. Okay, so let me share the screen. So can you see now?
Yes.
Okay. So now if you see here, let's suppose I wanted to select this order product one. Okay. So I will select this one as an action right now and I will click on add. Okay. And now once I have created add, so you can see here the product is added. Okay. So this is an inline action. Okay. I will tell you what is the inline action. Okay. So now what does that mean by inline action? That if you come here, if you refresh it, you will see one button. Can you see one button? Action order product.
Yes, sir.
This is present in each of the line and that is why it is known as order product. So if I click on that, you will see that you are getting name and stock. Where it is coming from, this pop-up. So if you see the action schema, action here, you can see here, order product has got name as string and stock as integer, correct? And then whatever we have defined here, right, as an input parameter, it will automatically create a pop-up for you. You got my point, right? And now, let's suppose if you want to create a good title for that, you can also create a title here itself. So, for example, if I want to, instead of name, I want product. So I will just give title. Either you can do it annotation or you can do it from here. So let's suppose I will say product name, and stock. I can give here some name as maybe I can give stock, correctly stock with S capital. That's I will give. And I will just, okay, what is wrong here? Okay, I missed this. Okay, and now I will quickly refresh it. And now you can see here your inline order is completed. And now you can see here, can you see the text now of this order is stock? And now, if you see here, this text is not correct. So let us fix that text. So you can just have to come here. You just have to come here and you just have to click on that. Okay, and you just have to make the text. So order more product, order product, or something like that, order product, something I can do, and then I will make this as an annotation. So now, if I do like this, you can see here, you are getting this data. Now, what is happening here in the backend? So if you see in the backend of this code, if you see in the backend of this code, you can see here your actions basically are visible. Okay. Now, each action also has a criticality, remember. Okay, so if I come to actions, right, so whether you want to keep the actions as very high priority, low priority, something like that, right? So let's suppose, so this will helps you to make the action colorful. Okay, so lots of the process is very minimal, right? So when you create criticality, it gives some color, right? Red, green, blue, based on the criticality you choose. Similarly, for the action, right, if you choose some criticality, right, like positive or negative, it will give some. Let's suppose if I choose positive, what it will give? See, can you see here? And let's suppose if I choose negative, what it will happen? See, did you understand? Did you see how we are changing all those color? How you are changing all those field of the button? Now, let's suppose if I want to keep one more action, let's suppose I have created one more action. Let's suppose create one more action. Like fingerprint authentication. Let's suppose I will create one more actions called authentication. Actions. I will say fingerprint, and I will say name, username. Who is going to do it? Authentication, so they can authenticate. Okay, so now I have did it out, and now let's suppose you want to create one more action. So let's suppose you come here, come to the page editor maps. You can simply come to column, just say that hey, I want one more actions, and select your actions. So you can select fingerprint, and then you can just add it. Okay, and let's suppose you want come here, and you can say mm, fingerprint, finger, finger, fingerprint, and then you can do like this. Similarly, here you can authentication, put that something called positive, and then you can see here you can add multiple authentications, multiple actions on the same UI on the line item. See, can you see this one? Yes, no, anything. Clear?
Yes, yes.
Now you can also, let's suppose if you see emission is not all these things are correct, you can change it. You can, let's suppose if I want to keep order product here itself after the product, so you can change the action field. Let's suppose if I want to create here order product, okay, and let's suppose fingerprint I will pass initially should be the fingerprint, something like that. You can use that. See. So you can rearrange, dearrange anything on the. Let's do some more modification, okay? And I can show you some more stuff. Let's suppose if I come to the fingerprint, and if you come here, right, you can see here the lot of things are attached, okay? Similarly, if you see here, a lot of things are done, okay? Hmm. Give me a moment. Hmm. So SAP provides a lot of icon also. So if you go to the icon library, right, icon SAP UI5, if you do it right, you can see a lot of icons are there. Okay, which SAP provides. Okay, for example, if you let's suppose if you want to see for fingerprinting, so if you just search right, let's suppose you search biometric. So let's hit open. So lot of it provides. Okay, so if you just let it open, it is so. Let it open. Why it is slow? Okay, so you can see here, right? I wanted to show you that whole toolkit, but it's slow. I don't know why it is slow. I'm sorry, really sorry. It again got disconnected. So let me know if you're able to see my screen. You are able to see the screen? This UI5 images? Uh, Nilesh, okay, you are able to see the screen, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. Please let me know if you're able to see. Okay, so let's suppose if you want an icon for, let's suppose, biometric. So if you just search for biometric, okay, so let's suppose biometric face or biometric thumb. So can you see here? Once you put it here, you can get. So if you search it right, let's suppose if you start searching, so you can get all that faces. Okay. Let's suppose you wanted to use that again. You can see all that color also, right? This is the criticality of that color which you can get it out. So what is the our color name? So this is our SAP icon. So what I can do, I will just copy it out, and what I'm going to do, I will come here, I will come to my action. So where is my actions? Fingerprint action. So I will come to the code and now I will show you how I'm going to modify all that. I'm going to write here one piece of a small code that I'm going to attach the icon URL. Okay. So in this icon URL, what I'm going to do that I'm click on here and I will write icon, okay, and then you can, if you want to, if you want to search, you can just put control space and then you can also search all the properties which you expect, okay, like you want something. So here, if let's suppose I want icon URL, okay, so I will come here and I'm going to directly paste the value, okay, and now if I paste the value, right, I will just show you in the screen what exactly will happen. So can you see this one? Does that color change? Did you feel that all this text has converted to an icon now?
Yes.
And now if you click on that, you can get the username, which you can pull the username, put the username and you can authenticate it. Okay. That is one thing you can do it now. Okay, so similarly, you have seen that you have the fingerprinting now, you have an inline item. Now let's see how we can create another type of action, which is known as out of inline, which is not inline. Okay, so in this case, basically you have to create that actions here from this particular headers. Okay, so but it's sometimes it's used or sometimes not used, but based on that, the requirement is there whether you want to create. Let's suppose if I cancel this one. Mm, you bar and you come to toolbar and you just click on actions, add action, and let's suppose I create one action called create PO. Okay, purchase order. So I will come here, I will say, and I will say purchase order, purchase order. And now if I do like this, then you can see here, you will get another actions on the screen, which will be directly visible here on your tick. So can you see here this action? And now how this action is enabled? This action will enable once you select this any of the. So let's suppose if I select this line item, this will get enabled. And you can just click on that, give your name and create a purchase order. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, you can select this one. So this is known as a multiple way you can add an action. So this is an inline way of adding an action. This is an out of line, which is on the toolbar you want to add an action. This is where you can definitely add. Now let's go. We have already completed a lot of things we have seen here. Now let's go to the and see modify some of our detail page as well. Okay. So how to modify the detail page? Come back, come open the object page now. So okay, so you have a lot of things. So first go to the header part. Okay, so in the header, you have a lot of things. So define the name, object, title. Let's suppose I wanted to choose a good title. So what can be the title here? So let's suppose I wanted my title to be name. Okay, so if I refresh, and then can you see here the name is visible of the car? Previously it was ID, now it is now the name of the car. Okay, perfect, very good. Now the description type, what you want to keep the description type? I want to keep the description type at, let's suppose, text or or maybe I wanted to property and I'm going to description. I wanted to put some stock, how much stock it is, or who is the supplier. Sorry, who is the supplier? Supplier name will be much more interesting. So I will click on OK. And now if you see here, then can you see here? BMW are supplied by MG Automobiles. Similarly, if you come back, you can see here other as well. So if you come here, you can see here that Tata is by Acro Automobiles. So you can create a description. This is one way another. Let's go and see some more stuff. So you can also create actions here as well. So on a footer and both on a header as well. So similarly on a header also, if you want to do this, you see the header right now. So you have a delete. So you can see here only the delete part. If you want to add more action, you can add. Let's suppose I wanted to add one more action here. I will add order product here as well. Okay, so I will add here and I will create the description, order product, order product. I will create a icon and then I will refresh. Yes, can you see here? Similarly, you can make the color criticality also you can do if you use, let's suppose I want to criticality this one as negative. And also I wanted to arrange this before that. So I wanted to keep this here as well. So I wanted to move this. Okay, it is not moving. Okay, so default is standard. Then that is only standard. So can you see this one now? Good. So let's see what more we can do. Similarly, where you can change and update the general status information. So if you see here, you have a lot of fields. So we will basically not needing all that field. So we will remove this criticality. We will in the gender information we will keep only pupil. In the gender information, general information, we will remove the supplier also. General information, let's remove everything. Let's remove everything. Now, in the general information, if you see here, we have removed everything right now here. Okay. Now we are going to add few things. Okay. So in the general information, we will add detail like a basic thing. Okay. For example, we can add here basic thing like maybe emission name. Name is already added. So we are going to add price, stock, rating is enough. I think category is also good. We will add these four things. Okay. And if you see here, these all those things are there, which is good. Now, the another interesting thing is that we will create one more section. So basically, we will create two sections now. So we will create one more section, and we will say add. Okay, so we will say add form section. Okay, and we will say supplier information. Supplier information. So we will act like this. So you can see here we have already have supply information, and then we will add one more field. Add basic field, and then we are going to add the name of the supplier details. So we will come here, we will add all supplier information. Can you see here all the supplier information? So we can also rearrange it. So maybe ID can come first, then will come thing name. And also you can write the text, but I'm not doing that because I don't want to waste time right now. So on that, so photo, city, and this, that's it. Perfect. So can you see here? Good. Now, if you come here, what I'm going to do, we have a conversation field. Remember, we had a conversation as well. So we can add one more conversation. It's very easy. What we are going to do, we have to put here plus, and we have to put add table section. Okay, and there we will write something called conversation here, and conversation, and then we will say that a value source will be conversation, and we will just add it here. And then once we will add it here, then it asks for our column name. So what? So right now, what happened? If you see here, if I refresh, you can see here we have conversation, but we have one conversation. We haven't given the field. One conversation is available, but we haven't given the name of the field, right? Which we want to add. So let's add some field. Add basic column, and we will come here, and we will give the name of that value. Okay, so conversation. I not ID is not needed. Message processor timestamp. That's it. Perfect. Very good. And now if you see here, we have conversation available here. Can you see this one? Similarly, for another detail, we can come here. We can see the conversation. We don't see data here. Similarly, for first one, we have one conversation. Similarly, for Audi, we have two conversations. Is it interesting or not? Did you feel that how easily we are doing that, all those things?
Yes, sir.
Now, did you understand compose conversation, that how conversation has happened for that Audi and how you are able to reflect into the UI? Now, let's go and see another thing is that we are going to create a new table function again, and we are going to section. We are going to create a table function, and we will say something called sustainability report. Sustainability report, something like that. Okay, and we will add like this. Okay, so the value source is important. So which is not available right now. No worries. We will add the sustainability report on the first one because that is a table. So conversation is completed, table is completed, and let me see if I can add price emission difficulties. Yes. So if you see here, right, in the column, same column, right, not here, maybe we can add it another thing. But if you see this footer action, right, we can also add action on the down also. And, okay, not on a header, but also on the. Let's suppose if I want to add some action on the footer, you can just have to click this one, add action. Let's suppose you want to create authenticate the fingerprint here. So you just here, and then you, if you want to change the text, just put the fingerprint, fingerprint. That's it. And if you see here, you can able to see the. Can you see this one? Maybe if you want to make the criticality here, something like that, you can make it like positive. Which will get reflected here in the footer. See? So did you understand, right? How you can put that into the header also? You can put it to the bottom footer also. Now, this is done. This is done. Most of the things are already you have studied on the annotations. Let's do one more important stuff, which is known as adding an icon into the UI. So if you come to the header, you can see here there is also a property called icon explorer. You can add your icon here as well. Okay, so basically it's the same library which I just showed you here. Okay, so I will come here. Let's suppose I will say for automobile, what is the automobile? No, nothing like that. Car. Okay, for car. Taxi I can give, okay, and I can give this car. This car is good, so I can give this car. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just paste this value here on the header and just see the magic. So if you see here, you can paste directly your URL directly here itself. Can you see this one? How seamlessly you have integrated it. You can also make this as a criticality. I am not sure whether this is really visible, but let's try this out. So if I come here, if I will say criticality for this shouldn't be reflected. I am 100% sure, but let's see. Because this is a header, right? This shouldn't be a criticality, but let's see. No, it doesn't affect. But can you see here? You can get the icon here easily, seamlessly. Now you have written an action, so you have all those things you have written. And now, but if you see the most important part here is that you are not able to do any kind of creation because there is no button. Create part is not there. Okay, only delete and edit. Correct. So because the reason of that this create option is not there because your draft and Okay, sorry. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of power cuts right now happening. I don't know why, but yeah, because of that sudden connection is going on. Okay, so you have right now all that things are in place. Okay, so now we can implement the logic of that actions. We can do a lot of things, but before that, you can see here you don't have create and edit option. So let's first enable that option. So how to enable that options is very simple. So you can come here to your so let me just remove everything. Close all. Let me come to the schema.cds, and either you can let it go to the service.cds. So there are two ways. Either you can directly do from the graphical modeler, which is very easy, okay, or either you can write a simple one syntax which is known as a odata.draft.enabled is equal to true. Simple. At the rate odata.draft.enabled is equal to true. Why we need those things, right? Because if you see here, right, what is happening in the cap, right? This is a cap service, for example. Okay, and this is a database. So what is happening, right? Whenever you are trying to update something from CAS service to the database, right? If you don't have any draft capacity, you can directly update it. Okay. But if you put a draft table right into the between, then it will go to the stateless communication. That means that from the service, it will first the data will come to the draft, and once the draft you activate the draft, then it will come to the data. There are many advantages of that you are not directly hitting the service database. You are first making sure that your data is saved in the draft entity, making sure that if you have any changes to do, you can still change those things. Another advantage of the draft capability is that let's suppose you have fill up some data, okay, and you forget that you have to do some changes after let's suppose 10 days, and you don't want to save it right now. You can just fill up the data. You can come after 10 days, your data will still be there in your draft entity. And once you fill up all those things, you can save it. We will see how it plays. So you can come here, and if you see here that you have those services ready, you just come here and you just come to the show details page. Come to the settings, and you just say that I want draft editing capability only. So just click that one, okay. And once you click that one, then you can see all those capabilities here. So if you come here, can you see your create field enabled? And if you just open here, can you see your edit field is now enabled? And what is happening? It is if you see to the product service.cds code, you have only one command which got activated. Clear? Now, if you come to the edit right, we have already given an association, so you can see here your supply information. But if let's suppose you want to give a value head, how you want to give a value head? So it's very easy again. Come here, come to again to the project page map. So you can come to the page map here as well. You just have to come here, right click, show page map, open the object page. Let's suppose you come to the supplier information form, and then you come to the field. Let's suppose you come to the supplier ID. Let's suppose you want this field. Where is that? Why this sometimes it gets removed? Hmm, Display tab. So can you see this value help? So now if you click this value help, you can get this label, and you can also select this value source entity. Let's suppose you select this from supplier, And the value source property, value source description property you can put as name. And let's try now this one. So if you come here, if you edit it, can you see that you are getting now drop down? Similarly, you can create a value help as well, and then you can, let's suppose for value help also, you can have to do a same kind of a little bit of configuration which is needed, which you also, let's suppose if you display as drop down, just click on that and apply, just try that one. And if you just try to refresh, okay, sorry for that. See, can you see the value help now? And you open it, can you see the value? You can add multiple value as well. So if you, in the drop down, right? So if you come to the drop down settings, so you can click text arrangement, multiple text arrangement. You can do it here. And what are the result you want in the column? You can result add column. You can do. For example, I want first name. Then also I want one. I want one city. And also, if you will see, you want the ID also, right? So you want ID, then you can apply, or you don't need ID because phone and apply, you can do it. So what will happen that when you do value help, all these things will come out of the box. You can get to just edit and you just have to click on it, and then can you see here? Clear? So you are basically understood how you can get both the value help and the drop down directly out of the box. So So right now, what I'm going to do, this is first thing, and later, first of all, to remove any further complexity, I will remove this create edit button because this is right now not needed. So I will comment it out first of all. So you can see here, we have the field which is available. Perfect, good. Now you can also do few more stuff which I wanted to come here, which is not that much important, but I will just show. Let's suppose you want some progress bar or you want some other editable field. You can also do add that one. Let's suppose if you come to the column right in the list, so you can add some more thing like a chart, custom. Let's suppose you want rating column. Let's suppose, okay. So rating column, let's suppose I will say rating will, I will put it on my, let's suppose in, because it will always come on integer, remember, okay, integer. So let's suppose I will keep as my emission, or maybe let's suppose I will keep as emissions, and then what I'm going to do, I will add like this, okay, and I will remove. Okay, sorry again. So let me share my screen again. Okay, so you are able to see my screen now.
Yes, sir.
And now if I just click on go, maybe I have to refresh again. Okay, so what happened? Why it is not coming? Maybe because of dual emission, right? The criticality and all this thing, it is getting failed. Let me first delete this one. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm removing this emissions here. And let's suppose I add one new column. And instead of this, I will add, let's suppose rating column I will add. Rating column, it will not take because rating is the thing, right? So what I will do here, I will do something like that, that for rating, I will add criticality. Okay. And I will add here because criticality, I will say that, okay, 1, 2, 3 stars, something like that. Okay. So I will say criticality, I will say, so, I will say 5 star rating, something like that. Okay. So 5 star rating, and out of 5 star rating, how it is that there, right? So now if I click come here, right, if I see the rating star, see, can you see this one? Your ratings of your product out of 5 star, how many star you have? That's your company. So basically, the rating is basically out of 5 star. You can denote, define that how many star you have. Okay. Similarly for the progress. Okay. So you can also add progress bar as well. For example, add a progress column. Let's suppose I add for emissions. Okay. And if I add it, okay. So what this will make that you have to first of all, let me try to also make this more elegant. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to choose the target type. Target type I will choose as because maximum value for this is how much? Uh, criticality category. What is the value of emissions? 12,430, right? So let's suppose out of 3,000 I will choose. Okay. So I will choose out of 3,000, my progress review will come here. Okay. And criticality I will choose as let's suppose, first of all, let's see how it works. So I will come here. I will come here, and can you see here this one? Your progress review. Okay, so you can make it more better if I will give some more realistic numbers. So for example, instead of this, right, instead out of 100, I can give maybe like a 1200, right? So I can give some 30, 30, 60, 60, and then 70, 70 initial. And then what I can do here in the page editor, I will give that out of target will be out of 100. So it will give you out of 100 how many progress review is happening, how much the value is there. That will give a better indicator, okay, like this. Now, if you want to put some color, of course, you can go by the criticality way. So you can just go and put criticality. So let's suppose I put criticality here. Automatically, based on the criticality, you will see the color of beautiful, elegant color here. See, is it good right now? Can you see that this is very elegant feature? And you can add it and make your application more better.
Yes, sir.
So there are a lot of tools which you can definitely use it out, and then Fury application is also like making your UX more enjoyable. So you can see that how you can create a more beautiful UI and make sure that your whole end-to-end cycle gets very beautiful with these tools. Okay. Now, this is done. Most of them is completed. There is the last concept which I also want to come before I move to the what you call is that authentication. Okay, so we have to deal with few things. Okay, which of course we are is that how to authorize. your service, okay, how to authorize your service, and how to write the business logic on the service. These two things are most important, which is pending. And then once we create those two things, then we can go further with then how to deploy the code to the BTP, which is our final step, and then we can see how we can integrate with the build workflow. Okay. So before we go further, right, we have a last thing which we have to do is that about the authentication. So how basically we use the authentication